Okay, behave yourself, stuff.
All right. Oh. All right, you ready to get going then?
Yeah, let me make Michael a co-host so we can do this thing. And he should be ready to go.
You're gonna do the lights.
Lights?
Yeah, we'll kill it.
Camera.
All right, so good evening, everybody. Before we get into the competition, we're gonna go over upcoming dates. Let's see, our next meeting is the 20th, and it is the annual scavenger hunt. We're supposed to be sending out your list of things to take pictures of
The morning of
the
the
morning of
20th, I think.
20th, yep. And you'll have, you said 4 days?
Yeah, they're due Sunday at midnight.
So you'll have 4 days to take pictures of everything on your list, and then you'll have to submit it via the website, just like you submit for competition or exhibition night. Following that, on August 3rd is an exhibition night. August 17th will be a presentation night. That's a Zoom only meeting on iMovie.
Yeah, introduction to iMovie.
Is it Zoom only or where we?
Wait, we'll be here and, but the
Oh,
presenter will be via Zoom.
Okay,
He said it'll be easier for him to present from his computer, so it's.
my mistake. So it will be a in-person and Zoom. And then the next presentation night or the next competition night will be September 7th.
Is that open?
That is a theme night as well, and I don't see this theme here in front of me.
What did we decide? I can't remember the list. Do you remember?
We'll have to get that list out. I don't have the list in front of me.
I don't have that either. Yeah.
Okay, so, and then September 21st, there's a presentation night, and Vic Moss is gonna be doing a presentation on drones. Which,
Cool.
if you haven't, if you're new to the drone world or you don't know Vic Moss, he is super knowledgeable about just drones in general.
What date was that? Sorry,
That is September 21st.
21st.
So, I mean, he's just an outstanding guy, and he
Yeah.
has so much information that the meeting actually may run long.
It'd be
I'll
really good.
warn you now.
It'd be really good for those of us that have had a drone for 2 years and haven't used
Yes. For those of you who still want to learn how to take off, well, use your fears.
I tried to fly mine and the police shut me down again.
Okay, Vic will tell you how to get around that.
Again on the 4th of July?
Yep, and I got permission from the city.
He's
Wow.
also the guy that if you get in trouble in the Denver area with the FAA,
Yeah.
he's the guy you're standing in.
Ah,
So
Make friends.
he's a really good source of information. So it's going to be a pretty good
Okay, that's
presentation.
track today and that's,
Um,
okay, I need to
All
go
right,
to that.
well, that covers next month meetings, 2 months meetings. So turn it over to Michael then.
Yeah. And I'll following up on that, I'll get a email out to the members here in probably the next 2 or 3 days that will have, when you talk about that scavenger hunt, it'll have the information that Bruce he's put together a really a good worksheet with all of the details on it. But he said it's like 4 days beforehand that we actually get the list of what we got for that.
Yeah,
And we will have in person for those that want to come. I think it's 2 weeks from tonight. At a park. Is that going to be at a park? Do you have a location? for
you
that?
guys are in charge of that. I'll be in Costa Rica. So
Okay.
that monkey's on your back.
We'll
But
set up at a park. Dave Purcell is.
basically, there's 10 or 12 things
Right.
and you pick them. They're gonna be, and then you just be creative on, you can only submit 4, so you pick the 4 you want to do. And then your creative interpretation of that thing. I won't release too much more.
Okay.
Secret.
But that night, for those that want to show up in person and. you know,
That's
photograph
between
whatever
you and Dave.
things that we
Yeah,
have.
it'll be more social,
Right.
but you can get pictures there and then
You can always
add
follow
to
up
it
and
when
get.
you
Or-
next call.
Or drink or whatever you do with those.
We'll be drinking.
Take them to all the CB locations, Dave.
But yeah, that's so, and then
Disclosed
we'll,
location.
and then we have a special night the following Wednesday. That'll be via Zoom only because we won't have the room to do the voting on and the club votes on the images for the best for these different categories. And then, you know, so that'll be it. So it's the image review and voting, and then the prizes are first place is a club membership, second place is something off the club membership. third place is something off of a workshop. I
It
can't
gets
remember.
sketchy.
So, yeah,
It depends who wins.
yeah.
Those scavenger hunt pictures are not part of the competition though, right?
No, no, and there's, and like he said, when they send it out, you'll see the instructions on how you submit them, you submit them for exhibition. But it's kind of fun to do, and I always try to come up with something that makes you do something different. We used to be real strict, we had to do that day, now it's like, whenever.
Especially if there's gonna have no drinking on it.
Yeah.
Okay, and with that, the other thing I was gonna say too is I think we have 43 images tonight. And it was fun to see. I noticed there were a few new names that showed up in this month's competition. And I see a few new faces in here tonight. So welcome.
Yes.
to our event. These are a lot of fun, a real good education experience. What I'm gonna do is go ahead and share my screen and hope that I keep it stable.
Are you gonna introduce Eric?
The judge.
Oh, that guy.
Oh, the
The
guy.
guy that's drinking?
Ouch, ouch, ouch.
So Eric, many of us have met Eric many times before. Chuck knows him real well on that. But lived out here for many years. I know I've attended a couple of events that he sponsored out here. We've spoken at our club on things from luminosity masking and portraits. He came in here one time and did a demonstration of portraits. I think he used Darren was the person who was photographing and that for that. But a very talented photographer.
And very young.
Very young. Right.
Hey, I just turned a big number.
So
I just turned a big number. I'm not that young.
I didn't write down, but I
Looks
know
like a
he did a
teddy bear.
lot of newspaper and been featured in many magazines in the past. Done everything from weddings, portraits, landscape. I think that I don't know if there's any type of genre of photography that you haven't done. And you've done it well with all of those. So
Thank you, thank you.
and with that, I believe it was what, about a year or 2 years ago, you moved to Michigan,
Yes, Yep.
which is why you are not here tonight, although Chuck said that you were here fairly recently in that for a wedding, I guess. a couple weeks
yeah,
ago.
just 3 days ago.
Oh, 3 days ago.
I saw you sneak in.
Yep, I always try.
So with that, again, thank you very much for joining us virtually, and that really, again, you've judged for us 3 or 4 times in the past, and your comments are always very, very helpful in terms of learning as we go through our images and that. So
Thank you.
So thank you.
Thank you.
And with that, what we'll do is, for those that haven't attended these before, and that, we're gonna go through, we have, again, the various categories. We have beginner, intermediate. We start with color, which is not what's up there right now, but I'll flip it over to the color one. And then we'll do the advanced group color images, and then we'll do beginner, intermediate monochrome, and then advanced monochrome. And I think I said we have 43 images tonight. And the way that we'll do it is, if you have your phone with that scoring competition with the voting form that's up, it helps to turn that sideways versus up and down. You can see the scores all over from 5 to 10 that way. And you'll see the name of each image as it comes up, and then make sure that you pick one of those numbers between 5 and 10. And then again, we'll cycle through these. We members will vote as we go through for the very first time. And then we'll tabulate those votes. Chuck will keep score of how the members are voting on these. And then we'll go back through them one at a time. And Eric will give his comments, and Bill will assign score to each one. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and, like I said, we'll start with the beginner, intermediate color. First one.
This is weird.
I'm on, but it's not full
Yeah, I
screen.
don't know why I'm not.
Not known for those that are. joining these.
View options at the top. No, over by the green at the top.
Yeah.
You're that side by side.
Other way down, you could check off of that.
Go standard.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
Then shift tab. for you. Shift tab for
He's
you.
already full screen.
So mine's full screen on my,
Shift tab didn't get rid of them? Then make sure you're not zoomed. You're not zoomed, are you?
No.
And then hit the I button to get rid of the information on the screen.
okay, we've only been doing this for a couple of years.
We've got nothing but the highest paid quality
Yeah, yeah,
technicians.
Okay,
There you go.
there we go. Good.
Cataract.
Cataract Creek color. So again, as we go through these the first time, the members, we will. work on those.
10
Yes, 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 yeah.
And and you vote on each image, you score each image individually, it's not a comparison. So each individual image gets its own score. You're not like- Each image is.
We give them all a 10. We encourage you to vote early and vote often.
Okay, and this is Lone Tree Sunrise.
That's the whole.
Yeah, that's the way it shows on my screen. So it's not full, right? Night Stalker, yeah, the bar up top. Bruce, I don't know if that's.
Mm.
That changes. So again, that one is Night Stalker.
Thank you.
And next we have Skipping Water. Yeah, we'll move through these fairly quickly the first time. Take more time when Eric gives his comments the next round. Spring Bloom.
That's not
To
zoomed.
make sure that looks like.
There we
That was. Set on those other ones.
Were those last ones supposed to be perfect square cut crops?
I'm gonna go back here real quick. Just to-
Okay,
That was-
like the one before that, was that a square? Okay, just checking. That one seems to be very cropped on my screen.
Yeah, that one's not quite. Yeah,
Oh, yeah, that's a lot more to it. Okay.
wow,
Is that
that's
the
a lot.
Lone Tree one or
That's
the,
Lone
Here, I'm gonna go back to these, here, sorry about that.
that's the last one or the second? one?
So this one is Lone Tree Sunrise, it's number 2.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, I'm gonna go back over.
Sorry about that.
No, that was. And so this one was Cataract Creek color.
Okay. Mhm.
I'll just keep it on this view. Lone Tree Sunrise, that's the second one.
Okay,
Night Stalker, that's the third one.
okay,
So Skipping Water. And Spring Bloom is that last one.
there we go.
Final one in this category is Sunrise, Winter, and Lone Now we'll move to category, which is digital color advanced.
You can do shift tab or any tab.
Okay, so again, we're in the, it's not picking up, that's not what's showing on my screen.
Oh, it's not, okay, so stop your screen share and then
And then
re-screen
reshare.
share. Yeah. We've seen, Lightroom seems to have
He
an
lost
issue.
his connection.
Oh, he lost his connection.
Hang on.
I don't
It
have
looks
my-
like I'm back up.
Yeah. Give him back screen. Oh, he's got screen sharing. Yeah, you're good.
You back in?
Yeah. It's not screen sharing, hold on. Sorry. There we go. All right. I do have a new computer that's supposed to show another one. Okay, this one is, again, digital color advanced. The first one in that category is a day at the office.
The bottoms kind of
Hit the F.
There you go.
There you go.
So now that happened. This one is asynchronous motion. Asynchronous motion. C for Colorado. The letter C for Colorado. Copper Creek Falls. Dazzle. Deep Space Reflections. Denver Rush Hour. Down by the Dock. Emergence. Grasses and trees. International Donut Day. Parliamentary. Portrait of a swimmer. Curry chicken mating dance. Rainbow Falls. Rush Hour at the Liberty Bridge. Smoke and Fire. Water Volcano. And Yosemite Sunrise. That's the last one in the category. Now we'll go on to monochromes. We'll start with the beginner, intermediate, monochrome. Yeah, we just have 3 in this category. And first, this is Cataract Creek in black and white. Retribution. And third one is Zipping Along. Final grouping is the advanced monochrome. $18 in this category. Alberta Falls. Okay, here we go. Definitely was not Alberta Falls. This one is Alberta Falls.
Could have been abstract.
There.
Okay, second one is Baseline. Third one is Clear Creek Canyon.
That was a clear Creek Canyon.
No. I think my order somehow. Hold on a second.
I think that's a DI, yeah.
That was Cataract Creek.
This one is a Clear Creek Canyon.
That's Clear Creek.
So, yeah, so again, going back, the first one was Alberta Falls, second one was Baseline. This is the third one down. It's Clear Creek Canyon. Driving Snow. Flight. Novel of Love. This one doesn't belong, I'm just gonna go past it. Get back to it. Silky flow and stone. Spring flows. Standing strong. Stout street curves. Taking flight. Theater of smoke.
Should we freeze up? There it is.
Yeah, that one took a while to load. That one is theater of smoke. Under the pier. Upward. And the final image of the evening is waiting. And once you're, those that are voting online with their phones, if you scroll all the way to the bottom, there's a green button down there at the bottom that says submit. So you'll hit that.
Wow. Yeah, thanks. Mhm.
So give it a second here, and then, again, what we'll do now is we'll go back through all of those images, and then Eric will give his critiques, and he'll assign his score to each one.
This is very weird in it this way. I want to be in the room with you guys.
It's good variety.
Yes.
You know, you have these theme nights, and a lot of times you get a lot of things that are pretty common, but there's a lot of really good variety.
Yeah, there was.
Was a mess.
So Eric, I don't know if you're ready there, if you can, if those images are coming through to you, if you're ready, we'll go ahead and start with this one. Again, this one was Cataract Creek in color.
All right, yeah. Can you guys hear me? Uh-oh.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, okay. Just want to make sure. Do I have to speak up? Let me get the
You
mic
need something,
closer.
what do you need?
We could
All
probably
right.
have a little light.
Oh, I've got, well,
Oh, you got somebody who's looking to join also.
okay, I was gonna say, you can always pull the vote form back up too.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
All
That's what I
right,
do.
there
Are you keeping track of his score then too, Michael? You want me to help?
I'll listen as he scores.
I can write it down.
Okay.
Do
so
you
got
want a little light though?
I printed it
They
out.
they don't need light?
You know,
Oh, okay. Oh, okay, all
All right. I'm ready anytime you guys.
right. We didn't make a road. Because they didn't make one to go.
Okay, so is Eric, you want him to start?
Yeah,
Yeah, can you hear me? Sorry.
Eric, you there?
Yep, can you guys hear me?
See there?
We can
Hold
hear
on,
you
this-
online.
There.
Oh, weird. Yeah, they
He's
can't
not
hear me in the
muted.
room, it
We
sounds
can't
like.
hear
Oh, we can't hear that.
Yay. We get the benefit.
Yeah, my volume's up.
Yep, hold on, everything
We
seems
could
to be
hear
working on my
before.
end.
Elaine.
Yes.
Elaine, you're unmuted. Can you talk? See if we get
Yes.
your audio?
La la la. Can you hear me?
It looks like they can't hear you either.
Her microphone is moving.
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
I wonder what happened.
I don't know. Usually it's the other way around.
Yeah, yeah. Oh. I don't know. Check, check, check. Can you hear us?
Hello, hello, hello.
I can hear you.
Yeah, I think the people in the room there can't hear us. So
All
Yeah.
right.
everybody online can hear us, except for them.
We can hear each other. That's good.
Yep, that's good. See if they can. Oh, did they all go quiet?
Ah,
Our
yay.
speaker went dead,
Oh,
so now we can hear you.
all right, cool.
Hey,
That was fun.
Now we read.
All
There
right,
was a
good to
moment of
go.
silence.
All right. Beautiful. All right. So
You probably
So this is-
already talked a lot about this one, but.
they didn't hear it. So this is Cataract Creek color, correct?
Correct, yes.
All right. So, and this is beginner category and beginner intermediate. Okay. I just want to get oriented. So just to technically we're in the right area here. I think I talked about this and I'm going to talk about it a lot again. And I've talked about this in the past, is that for me, a successful photo usually is not necessarily looking from right to left to right or right to left through the photo. It's looking into the photo. And this one just gets a little bit flat. I don't know where my eyes need to go. I'm not being directed by the image maker. It sort of has a great triangle from the tree trunk up into the upper right corner and then back over. I really like what's going there, but I think it needs a little a mood correction and send my eye someplace, lead me with light and shadows and light. And I just think it's just slightly missing that mark. It's a great technical photo. It's really crisp, and I love the minor motion of the water going away from us, because we do usually do a lot of photos of water that are coming at you. So I do like this different perspective of it. But I'm going to give this a 7. Right.
Okay, this was tree. I don't have.
Sunset.
This is Lone Tree
Sunrise.
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 All right, cool. Yeah, this is an explosion of color. It's beautiful, but I love how where you placed everything is really, really wonderful. But I think it also suffers from that left to right kind of thing. And I know situational, I'm being very perfect world kind of situation. I wouldn't have mind seeing these three elements, the stag and the fire and the fiery sunset kind of line up a little more, give us more depth into the photograph. But I'm also like really loving the right side of the photograph. So there's part of me that's like, what would it look like without the fire? Do we need it? Does that larger piece of negative space over here really be, do anything if we just chop it off and see what happens? So that might be something to look at down the road, as for the image maker. But and bringing those highlights down just a touch where the stag is, just to give it a little more depth. It's a little blown out there, just a technical kind of thing. But yeah, gorgeous color, beautiful explosion of light. This must have been amazing in person. But that this is going to be a 6 for me.
Night Stalker.
All right, it's lagging a little bit. It's not up on the screen yet. There it is. Got it. All right. I love night photography and using different techniques and things like this. This really, when I'm talking about leading your eye, I just feel like it's kind of has a good flow to it of seeing the woman and then kind of going up and around to the cars. And the other thing that I really love about it is that other photos kind of lack sometimes is that moodiness, and that the way they're using the light and shadow and bringing in a mood to it. Because this feels, when you add that title to it, Night Stalker, it just has this great mood and it really lines up. So the title and the mood and the vibe of the photo really kind of line up. And I really, really enjoy this one. And as for, it's off kilter too. Like the composition isn't perfect. It's kind of thrown off a little bit and it's a little unbalanced, but it still has a good flow. And I think that's a cool photo. It's dirty. It's not precise, but there's still a flow to it. So I really like this one. This is a 8 for me. Hold on, my headphones are gonna die. So just a second. All right, can you guys talk so I can see if I hear you well?
Sure. You hear that?
All right, cool.
Chris? Okay. All right, thank you. We'll move to the next one here, which is skipping water.
So it's always hard to really critique when I don't know the photographer's intention. I see what they're trying to do, but I think we're getting trapped in that left to right or right to left kind of thing. There's not a lot of depth into the photograph, and I'm not sure if this was color grading or it's just a little too over processed. It feels over processed to me, but I just don't really know the intention. I feel like when you're at a point like this with a photo like this, and you can literally crop this right down the center and have 2 very interesting photographs. I just don't know if we need that much of either side. So that is going to be a 6 for me. Yeah, just give us a little bit of a place to go for our eye to travel to. There's a lot going on in this one. And I think if you started, it's so flat in the background with that, whatever color grading or whatever they did in the back, it just doesn't have depth to it. It's very flat to me. So just something to play around with.
Spring Bloom.
All right, Spring Bloom, yes. I really, really love the dramatic lighting. You don't usually see lighting coming up from a plant, and it's very, very interesting. There's these pieces of light down on the leaves down here, down on the bottom part of it, and the 2 leaves popping up in the corner. I love all this kind of precise chaos that's going on. It's very, very cool. I wouldn't mind seeing a crop on it. I don't know if we need that extra little tiny leaf up in the upper right corner. But I want to get to all the cool stuff right away. So that's maybe play around with the crop a little bit. I'm notorious for just cropping. I think you all know that. Every time we do a critique, I crop the crap out of somebody's photo. But I really think that if like all those lines of light, it's like, yes, it's a picture of the flowers, but how can we make it also a picture of the flowers, but man, a little abstraction, a little like off kilter to the viewer. We don't need to show the top of the flowers, maybe come down right to the top of there and then crop in from the left a little bit and really get to all this really wonderful pieces and slices of light and dark that you have going on. But from there, I love the light. I love the color that you've created, super sharp on my screen. I can't, so this is a 7.
Okay. And let's see, sunrise, winter, and lone tree. Oh, it's
It's
on-
lagging.
not on yours yet. It's slow.
There you
There you
go.
go. Sunrise, winter, and lone tree.
Yeah, this was, I think, really good scene on the image maker where the flow of the color and the clouds and the way that the stag is looking and everything, it really flows really nicely. It has, intention of where it's looking and going and everything like that. I just think that I don't know if it needs that much negative space on the bottom. The fence kind of pulls you out of it a little bit, and I don't know if we need it. So that's kind of where I'm going with that. I really love, I wish I could show you. I'm like pointing at the screen and it's ridiculous. But yeah, you could just come in a little bit from the lower left corner up to the mid part of the neck of the stag, and I don't think you're going to lose anything that you possibly were intending. So or just darken that corner down so it's just not as noticeable, because you have all these beautiful other colors and all these other ephemeral things going on in the sky that are really wonderful. So that's just pulling me out of the photograph, and I think that's what we don't want. So, but this is a 7. I really like the flow of it. So
Let's see, now we will move to
cool. But I gave somebody a higher, perfect. Usually I go like one number down and we have to have a tiebreaker. So
I'm keeping track here. Okay, now we will.
I mean, is everybody like, should we have a caveat that it's like, 9s and 10s to me are like, that's high end, man. It's like, I saved that. I don't want to do that unless it's special photographs. So, and
No, that's good, and that's a good point that you bring up, and I remember on your critiques before and so forth that, and different judges have different scoring.
Right.
Angles and so forth in that in terms of where they go, but and again, you've always been real consistent, and even if consistency means that they're a little bit lower than maybe what we get from some judges, it's what your interpretation is, and it's how you are scoring them. And we've had others in that do the same thing, that various 9s and 10s, and it's to me anyways, it's not so much the score as it is the commentary, the critiques, and the advice that is real valuable. Appreciate it.
cool. Awesome. Yeah, I just don't want everybody to think I'm a complete a-hole. So, but
Beating them up. We invited you back in to judge.
all right. Are we ready to go on this one?
Yes, yeah. So this one is a day at the office.
All right. So, man, I'll tell you what, I love this technique. I love whatever you are doing. I'm into like LED flowing. I'm not even sure what, there's a lot going on in here, and it's really interestingly used. And the original exposure with a flash or a flashlight or whatever on the subject is really well done. When I first saw it, I was like, oh man, that railing and the holder for the rail just pulls me out of it. And then I heard the title and I'm like, got it. Like, that's the reason it's there. That was the intention of it. So I really just love all the hard work, and this is really a tough technique to do. And the care that you made with every little brush stroke of where it is. And the chaos also really worked in your advantage too. So like, I know how hard this is, but you did it very well. The composition's beautiful. I love the line of the wall and the position of the model. This is an 8 for me.
I only heard good things. What is that one? Asynchronous motion.
Asynchronous motion.
Asynchronous motion.
Once it gets there.
Once it goes up there.
When I get,
We'll get there.
There you go. Asynchronous motion. This is the second one.
Really love this is a captured moment, and these are hard to perfect and get like awesome and perfect and stuff like that. I really love what you've captured with the X. I wouldn't have minded seeing you take one step over, but of course I'm talking perfect world, to get directly behind them to get that perfect X and stuff like that. I think it looks really nice, but I think it suffers from a couple of technical things that kind of are catching my eye as I'm looking at it. What I think would have helped just a little bit is that darkening the entire thing, like the background seems to really not give any depth to it. So being able to maybe gradiate that background down to the kayak, and then have them be the brightest thing in the picture. It just kind of gets a little flat. There's no depth to it. It looks almost like they're on a piece of paper on a kayak. So textured paper. So that's the one thing, is play around with your background, how bright it is, and how make it a little darker, and then play around with them, the subject themselves, and then maybe drop off that tiny edge that's still on the bottom to give it that depth, to make us think that the foreground is a little darker and then it gets lighter. So that means it's getting closer, it's further away from us, and then make that way back in the background a lot darker. So it gives us the sense of depth with light, using light as our tool. Let me see. Sorry, I'm looking at my notes. So yeah, with some of the technical things, there's a little blur in the blades, and I'm not sure if that was it. The way it's captured, I'm not sure if that was the intention. And I think that's always a factor. If I look at a picture and the intention doesn't seem to be the blur, then I feel like it's a mistake. So even if it's not, I just want to put that out there, that's how the viewer might view it. So so this is going to be a 6 for me.
C for Colorado. Again, it's the letter C for Colorado.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, I really love. It took me a half a second to figure out that it was a night photo. Like there's stars up there. So that was cool. I like a photo that makes me kind of take a second look. I think it's a little bit, I want the foreground to just be a touch darker to give me that sense of depth, because it is almost the same tone from the horizon line to the bottom of the photograph. And that seems to flatten it out a little bit. Like I don't get that sense of depth for it. And that's really, otherwise it's a gorgeous photo. I love that bright spot that really pulls you into this awesome arc past the trees, around to the upper left corner and all the way over back to that mountain. I love that compositional point of it. So this is going to be a 7 for me.
Okay, and this is Copper Creek Falls. Copper Creek Falls.
So I really, technically, nailed it. The flow of the water is the perfect amount. It just really looks like, it still looks like water, but it's very ethereal. I love that. The greens are looking really good. I wouldn't mind it being a little bit. So that nice light and dark that's on the right side of the screen, where it seems like there's a lot of patches and you can see all the branches and stuff, that doesn't translate to the left side of that. It needs to be a little richer, maybe a little gradiated, like darkening to that side just to bring it there. It's a little bit of a gosh, I don't want to be so mean, I'm so sorry. It needs an extra element to it. Like this is a great photograph of a waterfall, but it needs an extra element, either a person to give a size. The bridge does a good job at that, but it doesn't. It almost looks like it's on the same level as the waterfall, so everything looks the same size. It just needs one extra element to it, or even adding a little bit of color grading to it, or really kind of bringing out the depth and the colors a lot more than it is in here. Really kind of making the bridge a little bit more distant by darkening it a little bit. So then the whiteness of the waterfall really pops right off of that, of the image of just that two-dimensional. It's very two-dimensional right now, and I want to give it some depth, and I think that's what it's missing. So this is going to be a 6 for me.
Next is Dazzle.
Very cool. Like I said, I love playing with light and doing things like this, and really playing around with what we're doing with time. It's almost like, playing with time travel and movement and all this stuff. And I really love this. I think it just needs more. Adding one more element of a different color, like playing with color theory in a way with these lights, this color, because it's a little monotone and it goes all the one direction and stuff like that. And I wouldn't mind seeing something else come flying off the side of it on the lower right corner. And of course, I'm speaking from the fact that I have no idea how this was created. This could have been like a found piece of artwork. But I really think it needs a little bit something extra to it, and a little bit more elements to it. So this is going to be a 6 for me.
Keep Space Reflection.
Cool. Yeah, really nice job on this. This is all the key elements, everything's bringing you right down to that bright spot, and that's what you want. It's super depth. This is kind of what I was talking about, how it's darker on either left and right side, and then it gets lighter and lighter and lighter as it goes towards that middle, and that really, you're playing with light to create depth in a two-dimensional piece of artwork. And that's beautiful. And then that little tiny piece of rock, usually that drives me nuts when there's something right on the edge of a crop, but man, does it give you a sense of depth, and that's pretty cool. And I don't mind it being there. The one thing for me is it's it's that kind of sickly green that I'm not sure about. I kind of want the blues to be a touch bluer and the greens a little less murky. So- and I know this is true to life and stuff like that, but we have the ability to just tweak it a little tiny bit. But otherwise, beautiful job. This is an 8.
Denver rush hour.
Very cool. Yeah, this is a really nicely done. Technically, it's really solid. The oranges kind of are blowing my mind a little bit. I don't, I wasn't there, so I don't know. I don't know if that was the orange that we're talking about, but I wouldn't mind. The sky can be that orange. I don't know if I want that foreground to be so yellow and orange. You're taking away from the depths. It's a tonality thing. All of a sudden, the whole bottom half of this photo is the same tone to me. So like, and I know that the city's further away, so I wouldn't mind being the city skyline, the further away skyline, to be a little tiny bit darker than the stuff that's up front, just to give that sense of depth with using light and stuff like that. And I just want that orange and yellow to be at the sky, the line of the horizon with the sky. And it just is, it's a lot of orange and yellow going on. Let me see. But otherwise, man, technically sound really, I love the flow. You got great traffic going up into that turning the off ramp or the on ramp or whatever that is right there. The blues are great. I love how you're using the blues and the signs and the just all the spots that you got going on. It's really nice. So this is gonna be an 8 for me.
Down by the dock.
Nice. Yeah, this is another, man, really nice technical piece. Great capture with how long you exposed it to get that really ethereal look to the water. The clouds are well used for bringing us back over to the dock and then kind of leading us off to the side. It does suffer a little bit from left to right. I don't know how much of the negative space on the right side of it we actually need. It may have been able to come in a little bit and still not have lost that magic that you've captured. So but man, yeah, the pastel colors are really beautiful. It really has a vibe to it and a feeling, kind of like what I was talking about on the stalker photograph. It's just like has a great vibe to it. You're capturing something using light and shadow and creating an emotion too with all of that. So this is going to be an 8 for me too.
Let's see. Emergence.
Regions, that's right. Yeah, I love this one. This is, man, I don't know how long you stood out there for all this, but kudos. Great exposure, great length of time to capture this really ephemeral kind of feeling to it. I love the use of shadow from each layer is just really giving it depth. It's a really pretty photograph. Yeah, this is my 9 here. So this is a great photo. It's beautiful. It has a lot of emotion to it, a lot of vibe to it. I love it.
grasses and trees.
Cool. Yeah, I love motion and using it as an abstract piece, as I've said, with even with this is very similar to the light painting. But you used time instead of light to make this abstract, and it's beautiful. Your placement of where those big long gray blue pieces in the background is fantastic. Where your bright spot is great, where the like center kind of right where it kind of folds over and off to the thing. It just looks like a painting, and it's very well done for what you were doing here. So this is an 8 for me.
International Donut Day.
Very cool. Man, I really love what you were trying to do. The just the colors that you're using, the technique that you're doing is very cool. There's a couple of technical things. Again, I'm coming back to there's motion in it, and I'm not quite sure if the intention of the photographer was to have that motion. And I feel like I don't know how to correct it. It's either needs more motion or less. It needs to be tack sharp and everything needs to be solid, or it needs more motion in it. Because right now I feel like it's kind of in between of where it's deciding to be. And then that background is if that background was just a half a stop darker, that donut would just pop right off the background like so much. All that nice highlight you have on the top of it would be like so much poppier and so much crisper, and it would lead us right to that donut. That background just takes away from it enough that it feels flat to me. It doesn't have any depth to it. Like that highlight's great on top of that donut, but it gets lost because there's another highlight kind of right above it, and it's just not dark enough. So let's see here, International Donut Day. So yeah, just because of the technical pieces that probably need to be corrected on this is a 6 for me.
Sorry, parliamentary.
Cool. Yeah, nice. Great framing. I love what you're doing with time and motion. You're really, really like killing it with this one. There's a little off kilterness to it, and I'm not sure if it's barrel distortion or something's going on, a little straightening. I mean, I know that's not always the case that we need to do that, but there is a little off kilterness going on here that I'm not sure where it's coming from. And I think it probably could be solved by just whacking off that whole left side and just let the tram or the trolley or whatever that is just go off into the distance of the yeah, I'm totally doing this. I'm totally cropping it with my hand and you guys can't see me, but but like a good from the left side all the way to that edge of that building, just chop it. And I think it becomes this really dynamic, interesting, like piece of motion and blur, and like it becomes very abstract all of a sudden too. So it's very, very cool. I think that those squares on the corner, on the left corner, really kind of draw me too much comparatively to what is going on the other side of the frame. So yeah, it's a wonderful try here. And where was I? Parliamentary. So this is a 7 for me.
Portrait of a swimmer.
Yeah, very cool use. Yeah. From my standpoint, from where I'm seeing, that is a solid as a rock, like motion blur photo. Like that face is really just drawing me in. Great job on the pan. If that's what you were doing, I think it's a pan shot. And also, this is like what I've been kind of talking about with the other photographs, is how We're a little bit brighter up front and then it gets darker off into the distance, and that gives you a sense of depth. It's basically a two-dimensional. If it was all one tone, it'd be a two-dimensional piece of artwork, but because of that light change, we're getting the sense of depth off into the distance. And I really like that. Maybe bring down some of these splashes in the foreground just a touch, just to give it so he's the brightest kind of thing in that area. That would be cool. But yeah, really nice job. This is 8 for me.
Prairie chicken mating hens.
Yeah, great. Another, just like the swimmer, man, tack sharp face and all this great motion that's going on. I love how the wing motion is almost making a circle with the feathers. It's really fascinating. That's a great capture. I wouldn't mind maybe, and I think it just lacks that little piece of darkness in the background behind the head to bring some depth into it or something like that. It doesn't have to be too much. It just has to be a little, so it's a variation. It's very one tone from top to bottom, and just play around with it and see what it does. I bet you it like will just make that pop up off the background. But yeah, it's very monotone, like all the very color palette, all in the same color, and I think that's really cool about it too. And but yeah, really nice job. This is a 8 for me also. That's tough to do, you guys. Wow, nice job.
Okay, Rainbow Falls.
Cool. Very cool. I think I really love where you've placed everything. Man, you have gotten this great arc from the lower right corner all the way up into that way back into the depth of it. Like you're just, that's where my eye goes. I think that's your intention. It's really beautiful arc to it. The tone kind of lets me lose my way sometimes. It's very flat on tone, and there's not like a dark black anywhere. So like if you could bring down the right side of it a little bit on that cliff right here, and then bring down a lot, all the brown on the left side, all the way around the snow, because the snow is a great tone. It's not too bright. It's got some shadows in it and stuff like that. That's great. And bring that down because it's very one tone from top to bottom almost. Like it does needs a little bit of carving out of some shadow over on the left side, and then bringing those shadows down. And then I think what would happen is all of a sudden that rainbow is just gonna jump right off there, because it's this whatever, you've kind of flattened out the tones a little bit too much to me, and I just think it needs that painting and carving out, getting some luminosity masks in there, and really painting in those shadows where you want them, and painting in the highlights where you want them and stuff. So, and my phone totally locked on me. Hold on. This is Rainbow Falls, right? This is a 7 for me.
Rush Hour at the Liberty Bridge.
Yeah, man, this is a great capture. This is really, really solid. Yeah, I like where you placed everything. I like the flow of it. I always love my stuff a little bit darker, but man, it's a really, really nice capture. Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing a gradation up in the sky maybe. But otherwise, beautiful job. If I'm gonna get nitpicky about it, I probably would have moved my entire tripod over a few feet just so that lamp isn't like that lamp right in the lower left corner. I'm enjoying everything, and then I keep coming back to it. I keep coming back. And if it was just over a little bit more, just a touch, I know it's all real world kind of thing. There's probably a cliff there or like a sidewalk or something. But there was a way to de-emphasize that lamp. I don't want to get rid of it because it's there. You know, I'm too much of a Photoshop guy because that's the first thing I think of is just get rid of it. But man, everything else you've done is gorgeous. I absolutely love it. So this is an 8 for me. Yeah, really technical sound. That's awesome job.
Okay, smoke and fire.
Oh man, when I first looked at it, I was like, what is this? I can't even tell what it is. And I think that's the cool thing about it. So, but yeah, the fireworks, the way they look like feathers almost, that's a really cool capture. I'm trying to decide about the negative space that you're using because I like where you've placed things. But then I keep kind of crunching it down even further on all sides almost down to the cool parts of it. And I can't tell, but because I like what you're doing with it and I don't want to ruin it. But yeah, a little bit of variation in color would have been fun, like really kind of popping those colors in the top one just a little bit, and then bringing the lower ones down at the edge, right at the bottom edge, just bringing that down just a little bit so you're like kind of lifted up into the frame. Because right now I'm like, that's a cool, you know, top part at the top here, and it looks like feathers and it's really cool, and then I instantly go down to the edge where it's a really bright, and I miss all this other cool feathery things that are just above it, and you know I have to come back to it and it takes me a little while, and that bright spot right down at the edge could have just kind of popped it up and stuff like that. But yeah, cool. Yeah, keep playing with this, man. This is a cool technique. I really think if you keep playing around with it, you'll really explore some really cool just chaos. It's chaos. I know to capture this stuff, and you'll kind of capture some of that. So this is a 7 for me.
A couple more here. This one is water volcano.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool technique. That's awesome. I'm not sure if I can't tell from not being right in front of the photograph, but it looks a little not perfectly sharp. Can't tell, but I do like what you've done with this. Is a tough technique to do, and it's really pretty. I wouldn't mind seeing you push it forward because we have seen a lot of this in the past, and just like kind of making it your own. That would really be cool. Or just play around with your crop. And I'm a crop guy, so I'm like, the one way I play with stuff is just to crop that crap out of it. And that one little tiny ball of water is the cool thing. That's the thing that draws you in, and just kind of play with those things to make it your own, and really define this technique as this is the image makers. This isn't a picture that the technique. This is the image makers. And I hope that makes sense. But otherwise, technically really beautiful. I love the colors that you chose. Whatever made it gradiate like that is really, really, really cool. So this is 8 for me. This is really, really sound. So.
And the last in the category, Yosemite sunrise.
Yeah, wow. This is like, man, the tones are beautiful. This is kind of what I was talking about, this, how you're giving me a story with light, and it has a mood in it. It's just like really well put together. And man, the light, the kind of strands of light that are shooting off the edges of the peaks, they're very subtle, but it's very, very cool. And the capture of the water, It's just like a really beautiful, tone. It's like, it's not overbearing. It's just subtle and flowy, and it really flows up into bringing us the waterfall, and then coming back to the brightest spot in the picture. Everything's pulling you to that center. It's giving it all this depth, so you know that that's far away, and you get this feeling of distance within a two-dimensional piece of art, and that's beautifully done. This is great. The only nitpicky thing I might have is that there might be a little too much negative space at the bottom, maybe just a touch. That lower left corner seems to draw me in, and I think that's just because it's a bright spot with a silhouette upon it and stuff like that. And every time I crop it out with my hand, I hate it. I like the original, so that's just me being nitpicky. But yeah, this is a 9 for me. This is great.
Okay, before we leave the category, you left yourself with a couple of tiebreakers here. One will be the 2 9s that you had selected, and then I think you said there's another tiebreaker on some 8s. Just start with them.
So 280 tiebreaker is A Day at the Office and Rush Hour at Liberty Bridge.
So,
60.
Sorry, my audio is really getting a little choppy. What am I doing? Sorry.
Okay, so you're breaking a tie for the member voting between these 2 images coming up. Give it a second. We're gonna put you on the spot. So this is what we're doing. Take a second. Whatever.
Oh, there we go. Yeah. Cool.
Pick one.
Pick one.
All right. Yeah, that the Day at the Office, man, it's awesome.
Okay. Now you gotta pick between the 2 9s that you chose.
and that was
the last one. And where's the other one? The other one is
9.
number
9.
The Emergence. Yeah. Yep. Oh man. Okay. Jeez.
You did this one to yourself.
Jeez. I'm gonna go with the storytelling, the emotion, and that's gonna be Emergence. It just has that one extra level of like emotion to it, using everything that you captured and where you stood, how you lined everything up, all that stuff. Great capture. So
Great, thank you for doing that. Let's see, so now we are into the monochromes. Start here, we have Cataract Creek, black and white.
all right. This is beginners again. Okay, cool. All right. So I like to be consistent, and it's great capture. There's always this part when you're capturing water like this where you're not quite long enough or you're not quite short enough on your time. And I feel like this is straddling that middle part, and it needs a little bit more time. Maybe it depends on the intention of the photographer. But you got a little bit that's tack sharp and a little bit that's flowy, and that's kind of off-putting a little bit in a picture like this. I do like how you're playing with light and shadow, and the highlights of the water are really kind of pulling you up towards that rock in the upper left corner. I wouldn't mind seeing a little bit more of that, and really having, I can't tell on this screen, but I don't feel like there's a super black until way back in the dark, the upper right corner up there. And I wouldn't mind seeing a few more blacks within the pieces of water and stuff like that, bringing some depth to it, making it jump up off the print. Because these highlights are great, and I wouldn't mind seeing something that is opposing that. So, and it's just a little bit off kilter on composition a little bit. There's a couple edges that are cut off that I feel like don't need to be cut off. And yeah, it's so close, you guys. It's really close. It's a nice job, but I think you need to really think about your viewer and where do you want them to go. You have to guide them with light. And if you want me to go up in that upper left corner, then you got to guide me up there by making some of this darker down in the lower right corner to pull me up that way using your highlights and of all the edges of the white foamy part and stuff like that. I just don't know where I'm going. Like, because you've cut that rock off up in the upper left corner, I feel like it's almost like a roadblock for your eye. It's like it just comes up there and then stops, and then I kind of fall back down the waterfall. So I'm not going anywhere with my eye. So this is a 6 for me.
Retribution.
I love all the combinations of everything that you're doing with compositing, and the texture that you added to the sky was such a smart idea. I think that really added a layer to it. I love the use of your lines in the wheat or corn. I think that's wheat or soy or whatever it is, leading us back. It gives us a lot of depth. There's a few things on the composition that I want more. You have some rough edges around some of the cutouts, and the people in the foreground are a little bit different grain than the wheat or the soy or whatever. They're a different texture, and almost if you had kind of what I usually do with something like that is I create a texture to put over the entire thing, so then the wheat and the people have the same texture. It's kind of like what you did with the sky. Like that evened it all out. The eye doesn't feel like it's just jumping off the page. It's sort of melted in there. So because you added a texture, even adding that texture over the eye maybe would have been an idea too. But yeah, they really look cut out on the bench, and that's what I think what you want to avoid. I don't know the intention of but it's taking me out of what you're trying to do. It's taking me out of this great piece that you've created, and then I kind of start to see the edges of the cutout and stuff like that. So but this is a 7 for me.
Zipping along.
Yeah, very cool job. This is another, as you can tell, I love action shots and motion blur and panning. It's my favorite. It's beautiful. I love the chaos that's created. And but this is a beautiful job. I wouldn't mind seeing the biker a little tack sharper. So that's just a matter of practicing your pan a little bit more. And then continuing your pan throughout so you can get that sharpness to it. But on the other side of that, what you've done with it and what you've created is like, it works for it. That messy blur is really, really cool with it. So I don't know if I need all of the left or the right side, kind of where that first rock, I think it's a rock. And so the steps and up to the first rock, I don't know if I need it, because there's so much cooler stuff going on behind the biker, and I want to get to that faster. This stuff is distracting me. It's pulling me too much, and I want to just be in the cool part of the photograph. And then it's up to the image maker, but I really think right now the roof line or the cloud line up above these roofs in the back upper left corner are drawing me away from the biker. I wouldn't mind making the biker a little brighter and then dropping them down just a little bit, just to give that sense of depth with light and dark. And so that's really nice job though. This is a, where was I? Zipping along, right? This is an 8 for me.
Great, thank you. Let's see, last category will be the advanced monochrome. have 17 in this category.
All right, cool. Oh, that feels like the middle.
You're missing one yet, Alberta Falls.
Yep.
It's the second time I've missed Alberta Falls.
Hopefully it's your image.
Good? Is that it?
Yep.
Yep.
You see it here, it's up there.
All right. Alberta Falls, first one in this category.
Cool. Yeah, no, this is really nice job. This is the tonality. You got some really nice blacks really up foreground in the foreground, and then you're kind of bringing me back with light. Like it gets a little less contrasty as we go back, and I think that really works. The tones in the foreground are beautiful. Great job with the flow of the water, that time of exposure. That's what I'm kind of talking about, is like that it has that etherealness. It's not quite stopped anywhere. It's really, really, really pretty. It just, and it runs. Really nice composition of where you've placed everything, just beautiful. And the tops of the rocks, I don't know if you brought those out, but man, beautiful job. I love how even the rocks have depth. They go from a brightness down all the way to a black on most of the rocks. It's really pretty. So this is a 9 for me.
The second one is Baseline.
Yeah, dude, badass. Wow. I mean, this is so badass. No, that's the face and the posture and everything you've created with this is like you've created this awesome dynamic picture using multiple exposures on a 2 dimensions. Out of 2 dimensions, you made this very, very dynamic picture. This is very, very cool. The one nitpicky thing I have is do we need that frame in the back, the frame on the wall in the background? It somewhat distracts from it. I don't know where we're at with Photoshop, and do we take it out or darken it up or whatever you want to do, but yeah, it does a little distraction for me, but otherwise killer job. This is a 9 for me.
Clear Creek Canyon.
Very cool. Yeah, nice composition. I love like what you're doing with infrared is very, very cool. It's just popping. I just want to see. It's a little too one tone throughout, and I really want these front leaves, the infrared leaves, to really pop. So having a few more darks, shadows in the background on that ridge line back there might help it out a little bit, just to make it jump and give us that depth and really have our eye go from the bottom of this river and up the river and up the canyon and off into that dark spot where the clouds are kind of forming back there. Infrared's interesting. I love it, but it also just needs as much care as with lights and darks also. So yeah, this is a 7. Great exposure time. That stream looks spectacular. So, but yeah, keep at it.
Driving Snow.
Yeah. This one, as soon as it came up, man, nice job. I love how you played with time and really drew out the snow. It's beautiful. There's so many different lines, opposing lines, and just where you stood, where you lined everything up, where you have that front tree is against a piece of white in the background. It really pops out. Nice job. This is a 9 for me. I just love what you've done with motion in this one. So it's really subtle, but man, it works.
Light.
Cool. It almost looks like a bunch of people playing trombones. That's like what I first saw. It's really cool. And the other cool thing about this is it's a piece of artwork that you could flip on any side of it, upside down, sideways, and it just keeps talking. It keeps like giving you different things. I might bring it down. There's a little, maybe too much negative space around it on the right side and on the top. I'd play around with it. I can't tell right now because I'm just doing it with my hands. And maybe it's just the right side that needs a clip just a little bit. But otherwise, yeah, really nice job utilizing this technique. This is a 7. I wouldn't mind seeing another color in there. That'd be cool. But that's just, yeah, that's just me.
Novel of love.
Yeah, cool setup. I love what you're doing with this and how you're doing it. The tone, again, dark on the upside. You're creating this nice tube of light and to lead us up into the photograph. It's the depth of field that you've chosen has really accentuated that depth that you're creating. So with the light and the dark, just really nice job on this. So this is gonna be an 8.
Silky flow and stone. Silky flow and stone.
Cool. Yeah, again, this is really, really tight with the tones. Like this is somebody that's really thinking about what they're doing with their tones and how they're using light to capture us and with mood and motion and pull us through the composition all at the same time. I really, really like this. Again, I love what you've done with the tones on top of the rocks all the way to the bottom of the rocks. It's like this great gradation that you've created throughout the entire image. I really like that you made the choice of really dropping those trees out as much as you possibly can to bring us to the center piece of beautiful, flowy. Oh man, really nice job. This is a 9 for me. This is really, really beautiful. I want this on my wall.
Spring flows.
Cool. Yeah. I mean, it's a little mind-boggling because there's a lot of water here. I'm like trying to figure out where you're standing and how it's flowing and which direction. Are you trapped in the water? Are you okay? So, like it's going one direction and then it's going another direction. So it's like very interesting perspective. I really think that like there's a lot of white. There's a lot of white capturing my attention. And I mean, it's weird to say, but that rock in the front, I wouldn't have minded seeing that rock be the brightest point and like drop everything out a little bit and see what happens. But I think you need to direct our eyes. You need to make the white things that you want white, the whitest part, and then drop off that depth. Bring the upper left corner where all the other white froth is a little bit down, just a touch, just to give it that sense of depth with light and stuff like that, because it's getting you get a little lost in it. But man, I have no idea where you're standing and it scares me, and I hope you're okay. And
Somebody savaged the camera.
but yeah, this is a where am I? Sorry, I'm losing my track of my. This is Spring Flows, right? Yes. Okay. So this is a 7 for me. Yeah, if you can play with that and direct our eyes, I think you got something really special there. It's like really, if you want to, I'd go back to that and play with it. So
And I didn't drown. by mistake.
He's still with us, I hope. The image maker's still with us, please, I hope.
Spring flows. No, sorry about that. Standing strong.
Yeah, man. Yeah, beautiful. This is everything that I've been talking about. Like super great storytelling, really beautiful tones, and how, you know, things are jumping up off of the background, and you just get this great storytelling and great depth and everything. It is a right to left kind of image, but utilizing the lights and the darks and the tones, they've created this great depth. I think it's really beautiful, or they've captured this great depth. So this is an 8 for me.
Stout street curves.
Nice. Yeah, I think I really love what you've done. I just I want to bring everything down a little bit. I especially want to bring down the lights a little, just a touch. It needs some more directional kind of things. The front foreground kind of takes away from this piece of cement here, in the lower left corner. And I want it to be a little bit more moody. I know it feels moody already, but I do want some more mood. And that either make a choice to have some of the columns in the foreground a little bit lighter, or something way in the back, like that column right as the light goes around the corner, make those columns a little lighter than the rest of the columns, just to bring us some depth. Like, I think that's kind of what it needs. It's a little the black is all black all throughout. There's no tone change from the foreground to the background. So, but yeah, nice capture. I really love what you're doing with the motion and the architecture at the same time. That's pretty cool. So this is a 7. Hope, did we lose connection?
It's disconnected here.
What do you give this one?
This is a 5. I'm not so sure about this one. So there's no depth. There's absolutely no tonality.
Five images away from me. First volume on the left, have to play it back in.
Okay, I'm watching.
Let me,
Maybe I'll let
Think about it.
you. Yeah. Cash. See if anybody left any messages. Perfect.
So as a thought going forward, Eric, you have 1, 2, 3, 4 images right now that you're gonna have to tie break from.
Okay, cool.
5 images.
Somebody needs a 10.
Don't see yet.
no, it's. trying to get that, but- Yeah, yeah.
You guys got me staying up late. I got a 2-year-old, you guys. I'm exhausted.
Hey, a lot of us are old. This is way past our bedtime. This push comes to shove. Imagine if you will.
Yeah, right. You could just read the title.
I know you guys are talking about age. I feel like I'm older than Chuck. Pretty sure I'm older than Chuck, right?
Oh, yeah, you are, yeah.
Okay.
There's no argument. Absolutely no argument there. Oh, Bruce, do you have images on your computer?
Do not, we did not do that.
We didn't do it
Um,
back.
Don't, I can get to the
If
file.
you can
cell.
get to the files, I'll tell you which one you need to pull.
All right, let me go here. Let me go to.
I'll keep trying.
Yeah, is it Lightroom freaking out?
No, it's, you dropped off the wireless.
All right, gotcha.
See, there's all this is what you see behind the man behind the curtain. Trust us.
I ordered a new computer, but it's like 2 months out.
Yes, trust, always trust. Submission still. Select competition.
Right, you're looking for taking flight. That's like,
There it is. Okay.
that one, the theater of smoke. Pure.
Not smoke and fire. Theater smoke.
Theater smoke.
There it is. What else?
Upward. Okay, these are the last 5 images to look at. And then we'll get to. We'll go back to the typewriter. You should be able to bring these down to your desktop.
What's the first one?
All right, so bring it up, taking flight. All right,
Oh, but I'm not sharing my screen, so let me share my screen. So can you see that?
I can, yep.
okay, so this is taking flight.
All right. Find my thing here. All right, cool. Yeah, this is a great capture. Beautiful stop action. Oh man, I don't know. Great jumps right off the background. The nice thing about it is that I can still tell it's water. So that really means a lot to what you were doing with your tones in the background. Also, you didn't just black it out, and it just great, nice edge light on top of the yeah, beautiful photograph. This is a 8, I believe. Hold on, my phone just locked up.
I know the feeling.
Oh, you'll have to maybe walk through the tiebreakers too.
Yes, you're gonna have to go get tiebreakers. Okay.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna make more, so get ready. So yeah, this is an 8. So
Next one's gonna be theater of smoke.
Oh, there. Okay, there's waiting.
That bottom one.
That
Yeah.
must be.
Oh, yeah. Okay, this one's called theater of smoke.
Oh, hang on. Am I still sharing? Can you see that one?
I can't, nope.
You don't have the green ring around it.
Wait, here it comes. I think it's coming.
No, it's.
It's the QR code looking thing.
Yeah.
Abstract.
Yes, that is a 12.
That definitely
It's a
had
black
stop
and white.
motion.
Okay, why isn't it showing the screen? All right, let me close this stuff.
Oh, sometimes if you have it in full screen mode and then you share the screen, it does, there you go. Never mind.
There you go.
Okay, came back.
All right. Do your smoke.
Uh-oh.
Can you hear me?
Oh,
we
yeah.
can hear you.
Sorry. Yeah, this is great. I like I like what you're doing and I love your placement and everything that you're doing. I almost want this, yeah, I want the smoke to be a little bit of the smoke to be closer to me. Like really engulf it. So it almost wraps it towards the screen, and it would be a composite. You'd probably have to play with it. I know that's not everybody's, thing and stuff like that, but it's left to right. I mean, I hate to say that, but it is a little bit left to right. And if it had a little bit of depth of field, like you blur your smoke up closer, that would be interesting to me. It would make it have depth into the, so it's like a tunnel of smoke almost and stuff like that. So, but nice job. I wouldn't mind seeing some of the tonality on the right side, also on the left side. So it's a little, has some blacks over here. Just kind of paint a couple blacks in there and stuff like that. So then that edge of that, where the light is hitting the mask, would really just jump right off the smoke. But yeah, really, nice setup, nice job with the smoke and stuff. I like more smoke. That'd be great. But here we are. This is a 7.
Just sharing the screen. And then the next one is,
Next one is under the pier.
Interesting. More smoke.
Yeah.
what?
It's not sure.
It's shown on, well, it's shown on that screen. Can you see it?
I can see it. I'm pretty sure I'm seeing the whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah, the whole image is showing this.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I like what you're playing with and how you like the asymmetry and the off-putting like triangle of like foam and spray and stuff like that. That's a really cool placement of capture of that. That's really interesting and cool. It is the brightest part of the picture. I kind of want to still get drawn back into this awesome depth that you've created with these leading lines and stuff like that. And I keep getting stopped at the froth up front. So maybe making that white in the background almost as white as that white up front, just to kind of maybe balance it and try to pull you back there. I don't know. I'm perfect world kind of thing here. But I really love what you're doing with you're really offsetting the composition with this front element, and it's really interesting to look at. And I really love it. I keep getting stopped up front. I'm not going into your photo anymore. I'm getting stopped by it. So maybe kind of play around with that and see if you can really somehow draw the viewer back into this other piece element that you've created that's really beautiful too. So this is a 7. Cool. This is cool too. I think it's another one that you can you could put sideways or upside down and it just becomes a completely different photograph. It has a lot of cool elements. I would really love to see another color in it. Just to give it a little bit of it's a little monotone, and it's not monotone enough to be monotone. So I don't know if that makes sense, but but I like what you're creating with it, and it's a cool upward spiral. I'm just trying to figure out if I need all that negative space at the top. I think you do. It's really nicely placed in there. But yeah, I want another element in it. I want another, like a little like spattering of just like blue dots or something with a, you know, what do you call them? An LED brush. What are the fiber optic brush or something like that? Just a splash of another color someplace, just to really pop it. So this is a 7.
And last one is waiting.
So again, I'm cropping with my hand and you guys can't see it, but I love all the elements of this. Like, this is really cool. I keep coming back. You've got me drawing all the way over from the left to the right, and it has this element coming at me almost, that's giving it depth, this great train motion blur in the center of it. And for some dumb reason, I keep getting stuck on the words over on the right side. And then I crop those words out, and that guy all of a sudden pops out and balances everything out. Like, I don't know if you guys can do it, but man, you get rid of those words and all of a sudden those two guys are facing each other. They balance each other out. You got this awesome element in the center. So maybe there's something there to maybe exploring that. And it might just be my crazy mind doing that. But yeah, great tones, really like punching up the subject to that guy's really just bouncing right off there. He's not getting lost in all these lines that he's on top of. Great tonality, nice job. This is a 9 for me.
Now, that image stays.
Now I have like tiebreakers from hell, don't I?
Yeah, you got like 5 images separate.
What all I need?
All right, so you need Alberta Falls baseline.
You gotta go real slow for Bruce.
Well, they're not.
You're not in the same order. Yeah. Mike,
Oh, that's what
Baseline.
he's using
Okay.
is.
Driving snow. Silky flowing stone.
Mhm.
And those are the 4 you need to download to go with the other one.
That's it.
Yep.
And then the one you
And then the
already
one
had.
the last one, waiting.
But the waiting was in there too. Yep.
That one's down there, so. All right. Oh, but how are we gonna show them? So I guess,
Yeah, you have to go through them one by one, I think.
okay, so we have baseline. All right, just baseline.
Hey, you can go to highlight all,
You just open them all up.
and open them all at the same time. I mean, there are 3.
Okay, so
So you're looking for Alberta Falls baseline, driving snow, silky flowing snow.
That's fine. No, that's fine.
Five of them.
Yeah, if you right click down. That's it.
There's waiting. Oh, you back? This one needs to go away. This account. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll try and see if I
There's waiting. So there's baseline. Okay,
Partly scattered.
So-
So there's three of them.
there's three of them.
So that's driving snow. That is
Stone.
the silky flowing stone.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Alberta Falls.
Oh, yes. So some of them aren't coming up. I'm only seeing Silky Flow right now.
You're zoomed in first too. That's like.
Oh, that was cool. Go back to that view so I can see the film strip too.
This
If
one
you-
here.
No, there was like a film strip of all the photos on the side.
Baseline, Alberta Falls. So
When you went to open it.
Yeah,
it-
so if you go up in the upper left corner of that, there's a pull down for the side menu also. Oh, keep going right there. Oh, oh, weird. The sidebar is hidden.
That's this one here. Okay, right,
Yeah.
Bruce,
let me see it.
see good?
Let's see, yeah. we've
I
got
don't-
all that. Sure.
Okay, where you go? There he is. Share it up.
Okay, there's all five.
Oh, yeah, there we go. Sweet.
Yay.
Took a while, but. we-
Oh, boy. So I have to pick one to rule them all?
Mhm.
You did this to yourself.
I know. Boy, oh, boy. And our category is motion, right?
Motion and long
Long
exposure.
exposure, right?
Exposure, okay.
Bids.
Um, yeah, I do really keep getting drawn to the baseline. I like what that's doing. I think that's a tough thing to do. Not that being tough makes it a, yeah, well, I hate saying that, sorry, but there's something about it that just draws my eye and it just has this really great motion to it and blur and long exposure. It's great, great capture.
Okay.
It stands out from all the rest of them, so.
Wieners, we have time? Do you want to run through them all real quick and give them the names, or do you have the names? Or do you have the names?
All right, so. All right, so beginner, intermediate, digital color. First place and the judges award, Night Stalker by Susan Langer. Second place with Skipping Water, also Susan Langer. Third place, Lone Tree Sunrise, Nancy Dorsey. And honorable mention, Sunrise Winter in the Lone Tree, also Nancy Dorsey.
Nice.
Okay, moving on to advanced digital color. First place, Water Volcano, John Bumgarner.
Mm.
Second place, A Day at the Office, Corey Bumgarner.
Ooh.
Hey,
Third place, Rush Hour at the Liberty Bridge, Dave Purcell. Honorable mention, Portrait of a Swimmer, Stephen Holst. And Judges Award goes to Emergence by Jeff Woodward. Beginner Intermediate Digital Mono. First place and the Judges Award, Zipping Along, Susan Langer. Second place, Retribution, Susan Langer. And third place, Cataract Creek Black and White by Jeffrey Scott. And Advanced Digital Mono. First place and the Judge's Award goes to Baseline by Dave Purcell. Second place, Standing Strong, Jeff Woodward. Third place, Waiting, Dave Purcell. Honorable mention, Stout Street Curves by Stephen Holst.
Sweet.
Congrats.
Very
Good
good.
job.
Great job.
A lot of really good images tonight, for sure.
Right. See you
I'm gonna go through the, start with the digital,
color. Right.
digital color, okay.
Cataract Creek Color by Jeffrey Scott. Lone Tree Sunrise by Nancy Dorsey. Night Stalker, Susan Langer.
That's great.
Skipping Water, Susan Langer. Spring Bloom, Nancy Dorsey. And Sunrise, Winter, and Lone Tree, also Nancy Dorsey. Okay, Advanced Digital Color.
Tab.
A Day at the Office, Corey Baumgartner.
Nice.
Technical help by.
Yeah, yeah.
Asynchronous Motion, Larry Johnson. Sleeper, Colorado, Matt Gates. Copper Creek Falls, Chuck Rasco. Dazzle, Jim Stambaugh. Deep Space Reflections, Matt Gates. Denver Rush Hour, Michael Rhino. It's there. It's the next one. Down by the Dock, Jeff Woodward. Emergence, also Jeff Woodward.
Nice.
Grasses and Trees, Stephen Holst. International Donut Day, Corey Baumgartner. Parliamentary, Dave Purcell. Portrait of a Swimmer, Stephen Holst. Prairie Chicken Mating Dance, Richard Lionberger. Rainbow Falls, John Baumgartner. Rush Hour at the Liberty Bridge, Dave Purcell. Smoke and Fire, Jim Stambaugh. Water Volcano, John Baumgartner. Yosemite Sunrise, Michael Rhino. Cataract Creek Black and White, Jeffrey Scott. Retribution, Susan Langer. And Zipping Along, also Susan.
We won't forget Alberta Falls.
You won't do it a third time.
Alberta Falls, Chuck Rasco.
Oh, you can skip that.
I can skip it, yeah,
I
you
can't believe you every time you miss it. Baseline, Dave Purcell.
Nice.
Clear Creek Canyon, Kathy Sneed.
Infrared.
Driving Snow, Stephen Holst. Flight, Jim Stambaugh. Novel of Love, Corey Baumgartner. Silky Flowing Stone, Richard Lionberger.
Nice.
Spring Flows, Michael Rhino.
Oh, he is still alive. That's awesome.
That was in Yosemite.
Close one.
I was not out in the middle of that water.
Standing Strong, Jeff Stout Creek curves, or Stout Street curves, Stephen Holst. Taking Flight, Matt Gates.
Excellent.
Theater of Smoke, Corey Baumgartner. Under the Pier, Michael Rhino. Upward, Jim Stambaugh. Waiting, Dave Purcell.
Nice. Good job, everyone.
Yeah. And thank you again also, a lot of, like you said, we mentioned earlier, a lot of new members, new people. Perfect. Oh, yeah, so there.
You excelled this month, Dave.
He's changing a diaper.
Yes.
Still alive.
Got a little warp going on there.
Yeah.
Well, thanks.
Oh.
Yeah,
I
thank
can-
you.
Michael Loftus.
Oh.
I expected
All right, well, for those of you online, we're going to end the call. Thank you. Eric, thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you, Eric. That was, again, the commentary tonight was fantastic.
Yep.
Well, there weren't any tens. There were, real solid nines.
Hey,
So
I'm always here for you guys to yell back at me. Don't worry, I can take it. And yeah, if you want me to show you what I was talking about, because it's much easier, I can just do it on Lightroom or something like that on a Zoom. Let me know.
Sure. But thank you again. Again, the commentary
there were no
was
files.
fantastic.
Thank you so much, guys.
All
Even though
right,
you don't give them, you're judging as a 10.
everybody have a good night.